You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more.
This is your boy Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. And today, yes, we are talking indie comics, graphic novels. We are talking horror, brujeria, witches, and all that good stuff. We have an amazing author in the house today that is trying to, get up under our skin and scare the crap out of us. Because listen, I'm a Latino, man. When I see these brujas and all this stuff, I was oh man, you scaring us. Tim is the master of horror, the future of horror, the next king of horror. Mr. Mulligan, welcome to the house of Comic Crusaders. How you doing?
Hey, Al. Good. Thank you. Thanks for that cool introduction. And I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, brother. Thank you, man. For first of all, allowing me the opportunity to read this book. Because, I'm 10 pages away from the end. It is getting down and dirty in the book right now with the protagonist and everything that's going on. Like, holy smokes, I can't wait to see how it ends. But this is wonderful. I'm left at a kind of a cliffhanger before the interview homie, which is great. So I need to know how he booked his team and all. So Tim, I don't know if you've seen the show before, but this, we need to reel it back just a tad, if you will, and go back to when you were just a wee lad, and talk to me about where you're from and the first thing you ever fell in love with in fandom.
I'm from the city that this book is about, which is a town in eastern Washington State called Witchland, Washington. Okay. And I was born and raised there. It's I think its claim to fame is also the subject of this book, which is where there's a big nuclear reactor there. And so I was born and raised there. And what's the second question? What's the first thing I fell in love with? Is that what you said?
The first thing that you fell in love with in fandom, regardless of what it was, the first thing that got you hooked.
Yeah, I'm a true horror fan. I love all things horror. So I think even as a young kid, from the Halloween movies on, I've been hooked.
What was the first? What was the very first horror movie that your very young mind? Don't let his bald head or my way hair fool you. We're still very young men.
Yeah.
I
think the first thing that really hooked me was in some of the old movies. Like as a young kid, I became obsessed with like Rosemary's Baby, which was actually a big inspiration for me in writing Witchland. But that was the first one I really remember. And then I just, I've been watching horror ever since then. I haven't stopped.
Can I ask you, who introduced you to what you love? Or was it something you found on your own?
Yeah, it was no one in my family whatsoever. I think it was just me. I think it was back when HBO was coming out and I was a young kid and I got excited by staying up all night watching these movies, and nobody was policing me. So I just fell into the scary stuff and it never looked back.
Yeah. I don't know how old you are, I'm not going to ask, but we'll do this. I'm from the older generation. You could tell by my beard, folks know it's not colored, this is natural. And, I grew up on the HBO generation that used to point the antenna at the Empire State Building to get the signal.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Crazy. All right. So talk to me. Did you have a tribe in your geekdom and the things that you love while you were growing up, or were you kind of a lone wolf? Because obviously, if your family was into it, did you at least have a tribe growing up?
Yeah, I have a small group of friends. I mean, that we're all into horror, and actually,
adult.
I kind of in Witchland, there's a group of high school friends that kind of are the main characters here, and I base them on real people that I grew up with. But we all liked the scary stuff. I mean, the scary arts, whether it be movies, books, TV shows, but also kind of the lore of the town. And we would go to like where scary things had happened, and maybe bring our Ouija board around, or just we liked the scary stuff. So
you talking about this town. Witchland, you named your book after this town, and I'm reading this book. I'm like, scary stuff. All right, no effing around. Tell us, my homie. I mean, what's popping in this town of yours, Tim? Like, is it? I'm in Massachusetts now, And you know that this has its legends in a town called Salem about witchcraft. And
Oh yeah,
all.
totally.
But you know, can you say that maybe Washington tops in the witchery?
Well, there's two things. I think there's two kind of storylines here that are based on my hometown. One is just the history of this town. You know, people don't really know about Richland that much, but it is the home of the Hanford nuclear reactor. So, you know, the government built this giant nuclear reactor there in the 40s to build bombs for World War II.
Don't stop lying. So wait a minute. So your hometown was the kind of the home of that generation of the Hulk, if you will, almost.
Oh yeah, I mean that's where in the 40s, that's where they built the bomb that was actually later, you know, dropped on Japan in World War II. So they built this town, they built this nuclear reactors, and then they even did some experimenting in releasing toxic waste into the air, and the wind picked it up, and it created this history of people getting sick there, you know, from the toxic.
And they wonder where cancer comes from, folks. If the world goes around in a circle, what do you think is going to happen? The air doesn't just go with whatever you know. Come on.
Well, thousands of people got sick, and they banded together, and there's a big class action lawsuit called the Downwinders, and there are folks who got like thyroid cancers, and it affected babies to seniors to animals to everybody in between, and so that happened, and then they quit producing the plutonium in the 80s when I was a high school kid there, and ever since then it's this big giant cleanup, you know, mission to what to do with all these, you know, gallons of toxic waste that's buried in tanks in the ground, and it kind of, you know, the tanks leak and they're getting out, so people get sick to this day today. So that in itself is scary, to answer your question, you know, to grow up there. But the scarier part for me, you know, besides all that, you know, was when I was growing up, every town has its lore and its secrets. And for my small group, we were told about this woman who lived in a house we were told she was a witch. And she always it was this dark, scary government home. It was always run down, but she always had this really creepy pile of sticks, you know, they're in a little pyramid shape on her front walkway. And the rumor was that if you know, messed with the sticks, bad shit would happen, you know, to you. So we would get, you know, we'd go to parties and we'd, you know, dare people to go back to the witch's house and take a stick or knock the sticks over. And if you did, the rumor was that you would get cursed. And so it became a big part of our high school years. So Witchland is all about this town.
I would have hated growing up with you guys.
It was fun. We had fun, you know.
You listen, I'm Puerto Rican, and you know, say we live in that brujeria shit over there in the aisle and all that stuff. I mean, listen, bro, let me fucking around, bro. I would have been the one that would have been, no, don't do it, please.
Well, many people were, and that's what happens in the book, is that, you know, you have a couple things going against this poor family gets plopped in this town for, you know, work purposes, and they don't, and as they start getting more and more sick and more bad things happen to them, is it because of the toxic air and the toxic radiation from the nuclear plant where one of them's working, or is it because they happen to live across from this house that may or may not house a witch with these effed up, you know, witch sticks in front
listen, I'm about to sell the cover and more, and we're going to sell the crap out of this book in a moment. But before we do all that goodness, you know, talk to me about those early inspirations, though, Tim, because, you know, you're growing up over there, you're a horror fan. What inspired the journey of the Mulligan verse? Like, you know, when did you start taking yourself serious that you wanted to be a creator and, you know, and start putting your words out there?
Well, you know, I've always wanted to, and I've always loved writing, but I mean, I'm, you know, no spring chicken, you know, so I didn't write anything until it took COVID. So, I mean, I'm at age 50.
You're the Ronnie Dangerfield, kiddo. You know what I mean? I feel you, brother.
I mean, at age 55, you know, COVID struck, and so
you're 55, bro. Well, not now, but young man, you look young, brother. Good on you.
So that's when I finally made it happen. It took something like the pandemic and quarantining at home to say, I'm finally going to do this thing. And so I didn't set out to write the graphic novel or comic. I actually decided to make a immersive theatrical experience, like a scary play. And so I wrote a play first about Witchland, And that play actually has taken off now, and it's playing in different places. It's going to New York this spring.
Wait a minute. Talk to me. You wrote this play, and how did you present it and get the show going?
Well, that's the challenge. I didn't think anybody would ever see it, but I finished it. I made myself finish it. I didn't want this to be one of those, projects that never gets half-assed or it never gets finished. So I made myself finish it before the quarantining was lifted. And I thought so I taught myself to write a play, and I had in my mind this story about my hometown and about the witch and about toxic waste, and put a family in the middle of all this and make it be a really fun, scary play, because there are not many scary plays. Being someone who loves horror and also live theater, I've seen a few plays that have tried to do it, but I don't think that they did it. I always thought I could really scare people. So I set out to write a play and get a bunch of adults locked in a theater and have scary shit happen all around them. That was my goal.
Ooh.
And so to answer your question, though, I got it to a point where I thought it was pretty interesting. And so I invited some theater folks that I knew from San Diego when I was involved on some boards. I was never a creator. I'd never written a play, but they liked it and they responded. And it took one little theater company in San Diego. They're called Backyard Renaissance. And they thought it'd be really fun. They wanted to come out of COVID with the first live production that was pretty immersive, because immersive is a thing right now in theater, and also something really, really scary. And they thought that Witchland would be that thing. So it ran that's what started the productions. And now it's had several iterations since then. But it just took one theater to really take a chance on a new play and a new playwright. And then but it continues to be a challenge. Don't get me wrong. But yet you have to really get your name out there and get your play out there. But the graphic novel adaptation is helping with that as well.
Well, that's a challenge of being an independent creator, right? What I mean, finding someone that'll give you that opportunity. Completely. So hopefully you could break through. So, kudos on you for finding those folks that give you the opportunity. So
thank you.
What made you decide then to turn this into a graphic novel from a play? Because let me tell you, folks, let me show you the cover, and then we're gonna talk about you building this into a comic and all. But you guys got to see this. The book is dope. It's scared, again, if you're Latin or whatever, now you don't even gotta be Latin. Let me tell you, where's my over there? Here we go. Boom. I'm sorry, wrong one. Boom.
There it is.
There we go. There we go. Witchland. Look at this. Look at this. And just the design of that. It looks like it's on a tree. And
if you're
a weed head, and if you stare at the tree long enough.
Well, if you invert that triangle, it represents the pile of sticks that the witch has in front of her house.
Oh.
And and there's a guy in the middle. The idea is that there's lots of people in this town who may have been who've gone a little crazy, and it's either because of the toxic waste or it's because of the witch and the witch curses. But they walk around town just like pulling their hair out, kind of The Walking Dead in a way, but you don't know what's wrong with them. So that's what this cover represents.
It is gorgeous. And now I see what you mean. Hell yeah, because if you put it upside down, fuck yeah. And if only these guys had just looked at it upside down, they would have never ever tried to play with these sticks.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I just thought that, because the play is only ran a couple productions now, but there's so many, I felt that the way to get the play out there would be to either, be great to make a movie of it or a TV show. But I thought, I love graphic novels, and it just hit me one day, well, why am I not making this into a graphic novel? It's dark, it's cool. It can lend itself well to a graphic novel format, and I can write a series of them. So right now I'm putting together a trilogy about this haunted town. And we're starting with Witchland, all about the witches. I have a new one coming out in the fall called Snitchland. It'll be a ghost story about Hanford. And I'm working on a third one right now, but I won't say what the scary part is. But
don't you worry. Listen, you're talking about that you came late to the game. So then talk to me, what did you find in graphic novels? Like, what was the first graphic novel you found that kind of made you think, oh shit, my format could be on this?
That's a great question. I think that what inspired me, to be honest with you, I worked during the day, and I was working for an AI company, a tech company, and I saw a guy who was using artificial intelligence tools. I saw on YouTube actually a guy do a kind of a tutorial on how to use the AI tools to make a graphic novel, and that was kind of a lightning bolt, right? Or a light bulb went off, thinking, God, I should do that. So I tried to do it myself using technology and AI tools. So then, but first I had to take the play and the script, and I converted it into graphic novel format in about 900, frames.
How did you figure that out? I mean, not being, from that world, was it an easy transition?
No, it was really hard.
He said, hell
no. I mean, I looked at a couple. I mean, there's a bunch that I read. I mean, but there's one that really inspired me. It was actually a graphic novel that I look at quite a bit. It was done on To Kill a Mockingbird. And they took this famous story and just turned it into this really haunting, beautiful graphic novel. And then I thought, well, if I can emulate that. So I actually set out to hire a graphic designer. I didn't do the artwork, but I found the right collaborator who could do it. And he's really amazing.
All right. So how did you know to find the right collaborator again? Because you're new in this world. So how did you know where to go? And how did you gauge, if you will, that collaborator to fit the narrative that you were working on?
Look, I'm fumbling my way through this world, but I think that I got pretty lucky. I went on to Upwork and just posted it as a graphic novel. I mean, this was just last year. It's how it happened. I've been on a pretty tight deadline, and I already had the novel ready to go, just to hand to the right artist. But I put it up on Upwork to bid, and I got all these amazing graphic designers from around the world. And I was looking for folks that kind of had the artistic vision that I had in my head, kind of old school comic, graphic novel-ish illustrations. And I found a guy in Mexico named Pyrink who I loved, and I loved his work, and he'd done some graphic novel work. And I started dialoguing with him, and he loved the story. And he was not afraid of the darkness of it. As some of the writers said, I'm not going to do witchcraft. I'm not going to do scary. I can't do it.
I'm pretty sure a Latinos said no. Like, no, I'm fucking with that.
Well, several did. But then Pyrink said, yeah, it's not really what I usually do, but I really love the story because it's also a funny, there's a family in the middle of the story, and he liked it. So he just kind of knocked it out of the park. And so we've worked on a really great rapport together of building the characters and the pictures and how it should look. And then he just takes my script and imaging notes and has made this beautiful book. So
let's talk about that. Because you're talking about a dynamic family horror and all that. And you definitely are, putting a different, view on what family is from the traditional, that people know, just saying, right? So we have a gay couple that has an adopted Black daughter that are going to kind of a backwards hill town. Like, holy shit, are you putting them in a mess of problems or what?
Well, I mean, when I was writing the play, there's the old adage of, write what you know. So I was like, well, what if I took myself? So I've been with my partner for 20 years, and we did adopt.
20 years, congrats on that.
So we're two white guys, and we did adopt Black children when they were babies and raise them. And I know my hometown is very non-diverse. It's very close-minded. I'm not trying to knock it. It is a beautiful place. My family and friends live there, but it's pretty white and conservative and straight. So I thought, well, what if you took this family and dropped them in the middle of all this? And so one of them works with a nuclear reactor. They live across from someone who might be a witch. They're fish out of water by being the only, white gay couple with a Black child in the city, probably. And so they're all looked at funny. And then you have a recipe for total disaster, So that was the idea.
And it was very personal as well, because the characters are going through their personal battles. One half of that couple is going through their own personal battle, if you will. And by relocating, as you'll find out in the story, unfortunately, this person may be falling back to bad habits. So is that also coming from a place, from a personal place, the story?
Kind of. I wouldn't say it's biographical, but I do think, going back to what's inspired me, I think the best horror stories have a really great. They aren't, to me, they're not horror. They're like a family drama, and then you have scary things happening around the family. And you look at examples. I was really inspired by things like Hereditary. Hereditary it's just a family falling apart, but then all this crazy, supernatural stuff. Yeah, and there's several examples that are like that. Those are the kind that I resonate with, where there's it's like a family drama, but then you have this scary shit happening all around them, and that was my goal.
Yeah. Love it. I mean, dude, this book is great. So what's up, man? I mean, if people wanted to scoop this book, Like, where can we get it? When is it dropping or what? Because I mean, it's a great story. Again, I'm 10 pages away, folks. I'm at page 89.
You gotta finish it.
You're killing me. You're killing me. Like, ooh, he showed up. I wish he was later almost.
Well,
It was the first time I didn't mind my guest being late.
Well, it's good you haven't finished. You may not like me when you get to the ending. So
really? So are you telling me I'm gonna send you some hate mail after this? Come on.
Yeah, the book's available everywhere. It's on Amazon, it's on Barnes and Noble, Target, Walmart. Man. So anywhere you go online, you could go to the website, my website there. I think going to my website, witchlandplay.com, I think it's a good idea because it has the entire backstory of Hanford, my story. It has information where you can see the play. It'll be in New York in April, running for a couple of weeks, really scary and immersive. And then also, of course, the book itself. And then there's also information on the next book that's going to come out later this year.
Oh, well, so I was about to ask you that because listen, the Mulligan verse, baby, is alive, and it's starting to be built. I'm a fan because again, I'm Latino. You scared the shit out of me with this. I want to see this shit as a fucking TV series, not a movie. I think this works so well as a TV series, because this is the creepiness behind it. Yeah, this is perfect for, I think, Apple TV.
Keep talking. That's the dream, So
manifest, baby. Let's make it happen. So talk to me. All right. So obviously, then this universe was going to continue, then and expand. So talk to me, this book is out. What are we expecting with the second volume?
Yeah. So once I realized what a great how fun this was, we're making a graphic novel of it, and the play is done pretty well. Obviously I'm thinking of what's next. So I wrote the second follow-up, and I'm using it's a true sequel to Witchland. It'll take place about 6 months after the events of Witchland, and I wanted to keep I have this great artist collaborator, so to keep him going, I had to feed him a new book. So Snitchland is done. It's a little different story. Witchland kind of tells the story of Hanford and this couple and this family that's there, and they encounter a woman who may or may not be a witch, or she may just be haunted by the history of the toxic waste of that city. The second one is more about kind of all the people who've been sick there over the years, and it's a ghost story. And it's yeah.
You giving me Amityville feels, you know what I mean? The first one we focus on the second family, and then we get kind of the story, the OG based on the first family. So you're kind of giving me those vibes right now. We're going to go through these generations of families that are going to have these experiences. Am I on the right lane?
You're completely. I just got to keep writing. Yeah. So the goal is to have this trilogy done, and then like I said, I'm working on the third now. That'll come out early in the year. And then after that, who knows? Maybe I keep going, or I'm also working on some. I really like writing haunted plays and scary plays. So I'm working on some. I'm trying to create the quintessential haunted house play right now that'll just have everybody screaming the whole time. So I'm working on that.
Right now. You need to drop these on Halloweens. Mulligan Ween, we should call it Mulligan Ween hashtag, and drop these on, like debut on Halloween and do the scariest shit you could do. Because I'm gonna tell you, salute, hats off as a horror fan, but I think you on to something very special here.
Thank you.
And let me talk to you here, brother. I'm saying TV show, but honestly, if you had a choice to do something special with this outside of this plays and the comic book medium, would you like it to be a movie or a TV show?
I don't know.
Or an animated feature?
Well, I think I absorb all things pop culture. I agree with you. I think there's enough story there that I'm surprised that what's interesting about Witchland, the real town, is that and its history. It's mentioned a little bit in Oppenheimer, so there is a timeliness of it, but it's amazing that it hasn't made its way into pop culture. And people don't know that there's this place that's been called and deemed by experts as the most toxic place in America, is this little town.
But this is why you're here with the Mulligan verse about it. So America, the most toxic place, not in that way. We're talking about in the air.
So I think the potential is endless for, could it be a limited series, a TV show? Yeah, I got plenty of stories to tell about this place, so, and throw some monsters in the mix and, who knows? So.
Please, bro, Tim, this is what we need in our lives. We need original storytelling, show off different parts of America and their particular stories and mythos. Because let me tell you again, me reading this book, I was in it. I was deep in it with the family and all, seeing the family ends of it, what was happening in the backgrounds. Just thinking like my ex-wife would be just like that fan, being like, "Yo, this bitch got sticks in her house. What the fuck's going on?" Like, I know those people that would have been like, "Yo, we need to fucking leave." Like, I mean, at least us. I would definitely say, well, you know, the bravery of, apparently of white characters in films and pop culture. Like, let me see what's going on here. You guys are crazy. Nah. Yeah. I do not want to know what's going on there. I love it. All right, but bro, so okay, so you got this in the Witchland universe. Is there anything else outside of this universe, and maybe other things that you are working on that we could, you know, hopefully, you know, see in the future? I mean,
I got lots of, I'm working, like I said, I'm working on a freestanding like haunted house play about a house that I know in San Diego that's pretty haunted that I know people. That's where I'm at right now. So, you know, I think for me right now, I'm focusing on the series of graphic novels, which have the series of plays. You know, I'm really excited about the New York thing. It opens up on April 5th and it runs at a scary little theater in New York from April 5th to 14th.
Oh, bro, let me know. Shit, I'll drive down there. Let me know what theater, you know, send me an email. I would love to see you in person.
It's on the website under, it says they're listed right there. It's and even if you look at if you follow me on social, the New York show is all over that. So yeah, there you go. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm focusing on that.
He says so there it goes as well, folks. Yeah, I got big fingers. I'm gonna put them on screen. Look at that. Look,
thank you. Yeah. So I'm focusing on these, and of course I got more ideas. So there'll be more coming out. But Witchland is the way to go right now, and then you look for Snitchland later this year.
Oh man, let me tell you, I really do the story. Now I can't wait, because if you're building this into a whole vast universe, I can't wait to see what the West Coast horror scene is like, you know, with that witchcraft. I'm on the East Coast, like I mentioned. I'm in Massachusetts, you know, we got the Salem witch stories, but I grew up in New York, so we got our own bullshit going on over there. But I'm also Puerto Rican, so we got our own shit over there.
You gotta come see the play in New York then when you drive down.
That's what I'm saying, yo. I'm not too far away. I would love
I'll hook you up.
To be a part of the Mulligan verse, be there, meet you, see the amazing cast you're probably gonna have there, and be scared witless, I'm sure, because this story again, folks, I'm 10 pages away. I know I said this is my third time, because the story's that good. I can't really, right after this interview, I am finishing that book. I have a meeting, but I don't give a shit. They have to wait. So I gotta finish.
Thank you. I gotta like it. Yeah.
Yo, Tim, no, for real, bro. You're doing it. So talk to me about just the journey overall. You know, you go from play to comics, you're doing this, and then I mean, you know, what's really next though? Other than the plays, do you want to grow outside of that, or is that really going to be your primary focus? I mean, just do the play, the graphic, and see what happens. Like,
yeah, you know, like I said, I think expanding this universe in as many ways as possible, because there's a lot of stories there about this town, and I think this family resonates. Whoever survives from this family resonates. So,
you fucking don't tell me that.
I'm just saying, you know, in a series of scary books, who knows who's gonna live? So, but I think between the family and the friends and this town, you're gonna see. I think I'm gonna shift the focus from character to character. New characters will be introduced, and I think there's a whole lot of story to be told about this group of people. So,
yeah. Tim is about to tear it up in the horror world, folks. I don't think you guys are ready. I think as a horror fan, like, yo, for real, this is a great book. And I said, I'm vested. So now that he said that, it's like, I'm gonna be so mad at him. When my thank you for being on my podcast email goes out, I'm gonna have to also respond to that. Why?
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Dude, you rock, brother. So before we go, it's con season, Tim. Are you doing any conventions, any appearances? Can we see you anywhere in person where we go, you know, give you a high five, get an autographed book or something? What's popping?
I'm not. I would. I work. You know, the writing is a side hustle. So I work.
You hear this, folks? You hear this, folks? He's building a hit book right now. A hit. a book. I'm telling you right now, a hit book. You see, he has a day job just like I do, and makes time to develop the side gig, which winds up being a passion project, which is something you guys wind up loving. So thank you for that sacrifice, bro. But
yeah, of course.
So
I'll have signed. Anyone can reach out to me. I'll happy to sign a book. I have signed books at the. I'll be doing books at the shows in New York. So there is that. But
nice.
Yeah.
All right, but so if we visit you at witchlandplay.com, right?
Yep, that's it.
If we wanted an autograph something, we could ask for it there and get it there, or what?
Yeah.
If you're gonna be a future horror legend, Tim, don't be mistaken here. Don't be humble. This book is fire, and I think that real horror fans are gonna see what you're doing here and be like, "Oh shit! All right, but this could be the next big franchise in horror."
Well, thank you. That's nice. Yeah, you can send me messages through the social handles or through. I'm easy to find. Believe me, you can look me up anywhere and find me and send me a message, and I'll hook you up.
That doesn't sound tonight. I'm easy. Yeah, man, brother. I really appreciate your time. You definitely need to get out on that con circuit because I definitely, I think people need to see what you're doing here. On the con scene and the podcast scene. We're going to be immediate partner here, brother. I love this project. Again, I'm 10 years away, but I'm kind of the family, see the family dynamic, what's going on. And I understand that because, when I was married to my lady and moving to Florida from New York, you know what I mean? And actually from New York to Massachusetts is actually the biggest difference. Because and my daughter's high school, she was the only Latina. So imagine that. The only one. So
that's similar to the daughter in this book. She's an all-white school, and it's not great, for her.
And my daughter was a goth Latina at that.
God.
So it's like, she didn't quite fit in, and she never told me this though, and I really wish she did, even though I probably would not be doing this podcast today if she did. I would have beat their ass. No, don't bully no one for being different people. That's kind of fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Just celebrate differences and learn about why they're different. That's all. Ain't nothing wrong with that. If it doesn't fucking affect your bills, your rent, and your life, why the fuck do you fucking care? Just be like salute and let them live.
It's a theme. It's one of the themes of this book. So thank you.
That's what I'm saying. I felt that. Yeah. And you didn't push no narrative, nothing. It felt so natural. A couple of them loved each other. They had a loving daughter. They fucking moved. I mean, who can't correlate with that? Especially, I've moved many times in my life, Tim. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I understood what the kid was going through, what the family was going through. Like, oh shit. I mean, all types of families go through similar things.
Yeah.
No matter how they look. And I think that, Tim, you really pulled off a wonderful job here. Witchland, the graphic novel, volume 1 is fire. I highly recommend it. Approved by the Comic Crusaders authorities, you see in the corner. I only put that when I really do believe in the project that I'm talking about today. So it is a fire book. It doesn't push any narratives. I mean, it's just a fire story. The narrative is horror to scare the fuck out of you. And you don't want to be living across the street from no witch. Well, that's what that shit is about.
And if you see a pile of sticks, don't touch them.
Please don't. People, don't. You know what I mean? Don't be asshole. Leave it alone for the love of God, please. Tim is trying to warn you.
Well, it's the tagline of the show. We have hats and sweatshirts that say, "Whatever you do, don't take a stick." So that's
tell me where we can get those T-shirts. I want one right now. Don't touch the stick.
Well, right now you got to go to the play, but we'll get them online one of these days.
Oh, we're at the play, but folks, again, you want to know where the play is at or what's dropping? That's the website right there, and then you also got to check out the socials right there. And listen, the links are below. We make it easy for you because we got to celebrate amazing independent creators like Tim that are bringing us OG content. And let me tell you, you can't get no more OG than what Witchland is about. He's celebrating his town, kind of a personal story, but you don't even get that in that because you know what? It's like there's so much shit going on. It's like, yo, it's like you're digging in. Like I said, I'm 10 pages away. I was angry because he was early, but I'm also happy because at least I got to talk to homie. He showed up. I appreciate you, my man. You effing rock. So, before we go, any advice you would love to give any up and coming creators, especially on this lane, coming from when you come from? Like you doing plays, and you know, again, you said I started this later in life. You doing that Rodney Dangerfield, if you will. You know, Carol O'Connor, like these people got bigger roles way later in life and, you know, became iconic.
Yeah, I mean,
Tim, you're on your way to being iconic. Because this story
is asking me that. I think the only advice I would say is, you know, it's never too late. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm looking towards retirement. And I'm just starting this stuff. You know, I'm not retiring, but I'm older in life, and so I'm an empty nester now. So I'm finally starting this creative side. So I think that, you know, I could have just kept dreaming about it and never done it. Or I could finally say, this is it. I'm going to sit in front of my computer and knock something out. Whether or not it gets published or not, you can self-publish it. You can do it on your own. That's how there's lots of outlets now, but at least you can be proud just to say you did it, you know, and created something. Where that gets put out there in the creator world, you know, economy, who knows? But at least you can say you did something creative and continue doing it if you want to. And I guess the advice is you got to don't give up, don't stop, and don't think that it's too late in life to do something like that.
Woo! You better listen to Big Tim in the building right now. He's telling you big facts right there. And let me tell you again, you know, Proof of Quality. This is a wonderful book, and I highly recommend. You want to check it out? Please visit the website right there. You know, get your hands on this. I mean, stay tuned for the play and all, so you can see this like real life and see some actual actors, you know, portraying these wonderful stories in real life. Please follow along on Facebook and Instagram as well. The links are below. We make it easy for you because, you know, yo, Tim, thank you. You know, as a fan to a creator, brother, just, you know, God bless. Thank you for sharing your talent with us, sharing those stories with us that we can connect with, keeping us entertained. This is the type of shit we need in the world. So just thank you, my brother.
Thank you so much. It was really fun. Thanks a lot. Finish the book.
Oh yeah, 10 pages away. I can't wait. As soon as we're done, but I'm finishing, and if you make me very angry, expect an email.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Al.
And folks, there you go. The links are below. Look at that, Facebook and Instagram one more time on the website. You know, follow my people over at comiccrusaders.com, Comic Crusaders World on YouTube. You know what? And I'm very proud of my big homie, Johnny the Machine Hughes. 9 years of Crusaders. So to you, my brother, thank you for your service. Old Timers Comic Book Show is approaching 100, where the hosts may not be over, the comic books definitely are. So make sure to check out that show as we approach the anniversary episode. And again, thank you for your support and love. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. Much love. Wepa!
Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.